Hello.
Hello. Shalom.
Barely, but we're here. Not eating spaghetti.
Not yet.
Yeah, there's still time.
There's time, yeah. I might pour a wine from 8 feet up.
How's it going, everybody? What episode are we on? What are we like 11 or 8,
This is the
11,
Oak
10?
Show.
I have no idea. It's been so long.
You know it's Saturday,
Yeah.
right?
It's Saturday?
It's Saturday and the
Don't,
tournament
dude,
was
stop
pushed
trolling
back
me.
2 weeks.
Stop trolling me, dude. I believed you for a second. I actually did. That's how out of touch with reality I am right now.
Yeah,
I
I kinda like this. Like, it's pretty wild seeing all the streamers that I like and love and that I've known for years. Everyone's just like I thought I would have settled by now, but a lot of us are still just in the routine of streaming like 12 to 15 hours a day, just grinding. How do you feel like it? Do you think you're gonna return to normal at some point, or is this just the new normal?
I mean, I never had a normal sleep schedule, not once in my life, but I do agree. I've been going like back to back 15, 16, 17 hour streams.
Mhm.
I'm running on 3.5 hours sleep as we speak because my sleep schedule is so fucked up. So I don't know. We're here though. I don't regret it. I'm having a great time playing.
Yeah.
So, but
It's
how
great.
That's
about
good.
My
how
my
about you
friends and
guys?
family have been asking. They're like, "How are you not bored yet?" I'm like, "I don't know. I love my job. Like, I really love this game." And typically, when I like a game, it doesn't go for as long as this because this is like 15-hour days every day since launch. Let's say if we think early access was launch, are we 2 months in?
More than a little
Yeah.
more, right? A little
Yeah, a
over.
We
little
are
more.
we are deep in it, and like I feel like we're around the corner from quests and more legendaries and more craftables and stash expansion, all the good stuff. I'm
Well,
excited.
it's like a
Well,
really good point. Like, I kind of want to touch on what you said. I have a pretty short attention span usually, and a lot of games that I play, I get bored of them. But I don't get bored of Dark and Darker, and I don't know why. Like, there'll be times where I have, like, burnout or, like, grind fatigue, but I'm never, like, bored. I could play
yeah.
this game 15 hours a day, and when I get off, I'm still thinking about it, and I
Yep.
don't know what it is because it's not, like, a super complicated or deep game, but I don't get bored of it, and, what do you think why do you think that is? I don't know.
I think it's rewarding.
I don't
Like,
know about that.
it's really I feel like it's rewarding, like, winning a fight and you get especially if they have a set and you know they worked hard for the set, you know they had to go through the ordeal of buying it from Trade Guild, they probably had to grind gold ingots for, like, an hour. Like, they took so many losses and wins to get there, and then you just get it back. And it's like the push and pull on both sides.
So I think I know why it is. They've applied the formula. It's the same
Mhm.
formula that casinos use, and apparently tons of businesses, Fortune 500 companies all over the planet are trying to apply the same formula. All these studies have been done in Vegas about what keeps people at the slot machines, and they've narrowed it down to three things. I saw this on Rogan, by the way, so if anybody's in the chat going, oh, he's ripping this off. Yes, I'm ripping this off straight off Joe Rogan. They had a guest on there, and he said, number one, you need opportunity to gain something of value. Number two, you need unpredictable and variable rewards. And number three, you need high repeatability or replayability. Those are the three things that make a game in Vegas or any casino, especially a slot machine, addictive. What keeps people at the machines? And I saw that episode, and the first thing I thought of was Dark and Darker. Like, every single box is perfectly checked for
Mhm.
this game. Opportunity, like high risk, high reward. Every time you go into the dungeon, you have an opportunity to gain something of value from the game perspective, of course. It's got unpredictable, variable rewards, and depending on where you spawn, what's going to be in the chests, what players you're going to encounter, what loot you might get off them, and then of course the relatively simple but efficient, simple and efficient game loop
Mm.
with extremely high or fast queue times, at least now that they've merged things back together. It checks all those boxes. It's just insane. But
Yeah, it makes
I
a lot of
think you
sense.
guys go ahead.
So that makes a lot of sense. I was gonna say I think it's the stakes that does it, but
Mm-hmm.
you basically touched on that, and you added the other couple points. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense because I I think I think this game attracts a lot of adrenaline junkies that are like
Mm-hmm.
too lazy to go jump out of airplanes, so we just play video games all day. So if we could just like log into a video game and risk thousands of gold worth of loot every raid, and when you get into a very intense fight, you get that sense of adrenaline, the sense of stakes, the same sense you feel when you're betting on a hand at the casino or something. And that was a
Right.
really interesting point you brought up. That makes a lot of sense.
Coming from
It's
Albion
working.
especially, it's working. It's working. I think it's like they've taken the archaic MMORPG formula and they've boxed it up in 10 to 12-minute rounds. And so this is the only game I've ever played where I feel like, especially right now with inflation, if I drop into ruins and I have a good 8-minute match and I pull, let's just say 6 gold ore, that's, I don't know, 800 gold right now. I can already be in like a really, really good PvP set for 8 minutes of small labor, which isn't even every other game I've ever played, like let's say Albion or World of Warcraft. If I want to go mine to get a set, like I got to go mine for like 2 hours. I got to be on the route. It's monotonous. Like it's kind of shit. Here, it's like even when I'm mining, it's the rush of being able to fight. There's sub bosses everywhere. You can play like a lot of weird little ways. Like lately, I've been pulling the cockatrice out of people and then vanishing and just transferring aggro to them. And so like there's this whole element behind mining. And after 8 minutes, now I'm in a set and I can go PvP. Or even in the same match, I kill another rogue like just now. Super awesome, man. I went to go mine some conflict gold, and a rogue came out of stealth with the swishing of the rapier with the new noises. You know, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah.
As a legendary rapier and like half of a set with weapon damage, I just killed him. Like he missed everything. I don't know how. I was just ducking and stabbing with my little shitty, template gray set. Killed him. I was like, wow, I just got a legendary. Now I get the gold ore. I get all his stuff. Like I don't know. It's the fastest full loot PvP game I've ever played. Every 8 minutes, new fight, new loot, new round.
Yeah, I logged into Crypts for the first time today in like 4 days. And I was like, I forgot what playing Crypts feels like because I have only been playing runes. I've never thought I would say those words in my life, but
Yeah.
I have been playing. Like, it's been fun. The fights have been great, and there is so much money to be made on runes.
Oh yeah.
So, just to kind of touch on it, how do we feel about like gold and the gold prices? We think like that's good for the game, or is it bad? I think it's okay, but
It's okay. Yeah.
for
I think
context, chat, gold is like 100 to 200 per, and like people are going into runes are pulling up to 15 gold ore. Not obviously not every raid, but like people can leave raid with close to 3, 4, 5,000 gold worth of ore, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. I think anybody can do it, even if you're not good at the game. If you get like a best in slot spawn, like the top northwest corner, you're right next to the ore. Usually people spawn 2 or 3 modules away. You have time to get 2 to 3 ore and leave. And then if you get out with that, that's 500 gold. You're in a set. You buy consumables for like 12 raids. Whatever it is people do with their money, I really like it. And it funnels the good players there. It funnels the bad players there. And everyone's using it. Like I enjoy the fact that the end game loop right now for the really rich players is to get gold. They either buy it or mine it themselves, and then they get the Fangs of Death jewelry, the Grim Smile, they get the legendary weapons. And so I think it's just a way to speed up the game loop. And like you said, you're a crypt main and I'm a goblin main, and everyone's in ruins right now. So I think that proves that they did good with that map. It's really worth playing. And if you're not a high PvP player, you can just go to like farm wolves or like go to a different corner or what have you. Like
Yep.
everyone's not just running around the map murdering. Like in Crypts, a lot of it's
It's
just
true.
murder city. Everyone
Oh,
just
we're
wants the
murdering.
gold. We're murdering, but we're like
But we're murdering for the
specifically-
gold. So
yeah, like one of the biggest complaints right now is that in Crypts, people just murder you and they don't even loot you and they just like go on to the next. They're just zooming around. That's
Oh,
to
yeah.
secure the boss though. Like that makes sense. Like you got to eliminate the map so you can kill the boss.
Like the other day, I got into a fight in runes, and this guy ran through some hills very fast, but he had a pickaxe on his back, and I knew we hit the gold ore, so I chased this poor little man through Locust for at least 3, 4, 5 minutes until we eventually got him, and surely enough, killed him, hit 3 gold ore. I'm like, worth it, absolutely worth it. Can't let him live. Like having a pickaxe on your back on runes, like is signed your death warrant, in my opinion, and
Yeah.
I kind of like it. It's like having
I
a cape.
vote for it. Yeah, it's even better than a cape. I'm like, is that a pickaxe? Oh, I gotta
yeah.
elim you. That's my ore.
Yeah.
Take him out, dude.
Yeah.
He's competition.
So Josh, you mentioned not only quest but stash space earlier.
Mhm.
How sorely needed is that for all of you guys right now? I know I have been struggling with the stash space, and I've been super grateful. Can't believe I'm going to say this. Grateful for all the scumbag rogues who are taking all the gold out of ruins and making it a viable currency so that I can get rid of all my 50 gold coin bags and turn it into gold ingots
Hmm.
They're always available in that, what is it, miscellaneous trade, right? In that channel. And that's been the only thing that's been saving me, is being able to convert ingots, or gold to ingots rather. Like the stash base is killing me right now.
I think
And
it's killing
that's across 8
everybody.
characters.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. I think Iron Mace has noticed, right? The biggest thing we're probably going to be talking about today is the speculation on what's going to happen Friday. Because the way they worded the message is it sounds like they're going to lower the drop rate on treasure, gold, and probably items. So they're not as common as they used to be. Probably find a balance between what it used to be and what it is now. And so, like, everyone needs stash space. Like, you're pulling 500 gold out of Goblin. You're pulling 1,000 gold out of Crypts. And so everyone's feeling the burn and everybody's buying gold ingots and gold keys. And so I feel like we've always needed it, and somehow now we need it more than ever.
I think it's ridiculous that we're over a year into this game being playable, and we're still dealing with this tiny little stash. You can't transfer between your characters. People have been asking for more stash space or more containers for a year. It's like the number one complaint in this game. It's just ridiculous. Give us some means to expand our stash, whether it be gold, whether it be quests, whether it be crafting, something. I think it should be gold because the game needs more gold sinks. But I don't know. It's ridiculous that some days I log in and I'm like, I can't play the game unless I spend 20 minutes selling shit on the auction house, and
I know.
I hate it.
Especially
I
with
love
crafting
the game, but I hate it.
materials. Crafting materials just made it way
Mhm.
worse. I couldn't be bothered with it anymore. It was taking up so much space, and it's like, if I want to craft any of the decent items, I need to go find a freaking troll pelt anyway. Like I've been able to find every other item in the game, I think literally at this point, except for the rotten fluids, and I found those prior to the last level wipe, or not level wipe, but gear wipe. At any rate, like, it's just too much space. It takes too much time. I don't even want to go into the trade chat for some of the lesser stuff. I end up vendoring 90%, unless it's a wolf pelt or demon's blood or volcanic ash. Like, those are the 3 things I might hold on. I haven't found the token of honor yet. I lied. But yeah, it's like everything else, just vendor it. Don't have
Yeah,
time for it.
those high end items at least I do hold on to. I
Right.
kind of use those. I use those as my value storage, my portfolio,
Mhm.
if you may. We have some demon blood in the portfolio. We have a lot of gold, or we have some ruby silver. We have some centaur tails, the salami sticks. Some tokens of honor. Gotta diversify your portfolio so you're not subject to the iron hammer crashing the market on you.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good point as well. Having alternate values just in case. I have quite a few Spears of Rots and Centaur's Madness and Void Blades, and those are like, I feel like those are guaranteed. Like, those weapons they've got good rolls. They're always going to be good no matter what happens with the market. And heading toward Friday, it's fun because this morning the announcement was made at 2 a.m. my time, and I logged on and the gold ingot price was already half gone. It was down to 500, and now it's like fluctuating. It's somewhere around 700. And I think we're gonna there's still 2 days of inflation, right? So we're gonna keep going up toward Friday, but then Friday is leaderboards. So now we have the upcoming inclusive leaderboards.
Hmm.
Prices will probably skyrocket before then too, because everyone needs to build their sets now.
so is Leaderboard Friday 100% official? I'm a little out of touch. I was sleeping
Yeah.
all day. Did they
Hmm.
announce it? Like they announced it, or
Yeah, they announced it.
are
So
they
they
doing
said
changes? Or
Friday with the hotfix, they're gonna do a sort of deflation of the economy and drop rate, from what I could gather. And then they're introducing the new leaderboard, which is supposed to be more inclusive for more activities, I think was the words that they used. And that could mean anything.
Hmm.
I think maybe norms will be worth like half as much as HR, maybe. It's good to have leaderboards for everyone. And if norms are worth half as much, they're still going to be worth doing.
That's true. Or
I
like
don't know what they're going to do, but
even if they just have personal stat tracking that aren't isn't leaderboard related for normals,
mhm,
I would love that. Like Tarkov,
Yeah.
it's like super interesting to see what your stats are. Like,
yeah.
I'll log into like Tarkov and I'll like after a season or so and I'll check my stats and it's like, oh, 58% of your kills are with fucking Magnum buckshot. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I want to know that stuff. I love stats. It's fun. Everyone wants it. Like normal players are always like, man, I kind of want to play HR just so I can see how well I'm doing. And I'm like, it kind of sucks that it's for HR players only. It would be cool if they did include other people.
Hmm.
Speaking of HR, that has been one of the, I feel like, positive auxiliary impacts of the economy being a little bit more inflated with gold so readily available. I haven't batted an eye about paying to go into High Roller, and it's been great.
Right.
It's been it's been no sweatier than normals, or certainly ruins. Like it feels the exact same. The PvE feels different, but the quality of gear on the players that I'm going up against doesn't seem crazy at all. And the loot is so good.
So good.
yeah, I've
Yep.
played more HR in the last 3 days than I've played since the game, first debuted. It's nuts.
Till
It's
Friday.
it's nice that HR is filling
Right
up.
till Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I've been playing a lot of West, and it's a pretty big problem in West. It's back to just lobbies being full of 13 naked rogues
Yes.
running around looting chests,
Oh,
and
it's been
I
great.
hate it. No, I hate
No.
it.
God, for us, like less sweaty players, at least for trios and HR, I've been going in there and I've been making a ton of friends. I've had huge rogue squads. We killed the Lich earlier with like 12 people. We ran into Todd Father's team, like Giga Juice, and it was 6v3, and they wiped the floor with us. But God, it was a cool fight.
Yeah, I mean it's great that people could go in and they can make money super easily, but like HR is just it's turning into Goblin Cave. Everybody's just being friendly. Nobody wants to fight, and everybody is just
Yes.
farming gold. And I'm not sure if that's healthy for the game. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I'm not playing High Roller because I like the PvP and have fights. And going to HR is not what you do, not where you go to do that. So I play normals these days. I'm
That's
washed.
Ruins. Ruins is the battle map now. It
Yeah,
used
Ruins,
to be
yeah.
HR Crypts, and now it's Ruins.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, like, sure, it's great you're making money, but it's if you think about it, it's a problem, right? HR is supposed to be like your high-end battleground, and right now it's just turning into Orlanthe lobbies where everybody's being friends and farming money.
Wait,
I don't know.
what? Orlanthe?
Orlanthe lobby? Yeah, it's called an Orlanthe lobby. You don't know that?
No, I've never heard that before.
When you get into a lobby and everyone starts being a Care Bear and wants to farm money, that's an Orlanthe lobby. You heard it here first.
Okay. I did not realize that was his MO at all. All of the footage I've ever seen of him was him just W keying into the next fight trying to murder people. So that's news to me.
Oh, those are the people that didn't want to.
Yeah, that's the ancillary is like the 7 or 8 players behind him who have a gold key.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, back when you could infa farm treasure piles, and he was rank 1 treasure collector, like 3 or 4 wipes in a row.
Right.
They would just go into like Brazil and they would treasure farm. It was good, but they also had artifacts and they PvP'd at times. But I like that. I like a mix of both. It depends. If I'm really geared, I like to fight people, and if I'm under geared, I like to be friendly. And that's probably how most players operate as well.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like I'm
makes
okay.
sense.
I'm okay with people like going to lobby, teaming up, and like trying to be friendly. I have the problem when I'm loading into High Roller, and it's 13 naked rogues. 6 of
Yeah.
them are definitely not speaking English. You know what I mean? And the other 3 are just like not wearing anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't mind if you're coming in ratting, but like if you're like a team of players that will also take a fight if need be, or teaming with other players. But when it's just 13 naked rogues, we've been here before. It's
Yep.
not good. It's not good. It's too easy to just going naked as a rogue, skip the content, loot chests, and leave with 1,000 gold in your inventory. It's not healthy for the economy, in my humble opinion. Maybe I'm coming from the toxic chat perspective.
I think you're
don't know.
coming from the top. Any way that anybody else other than the sweatiest teams in the game can make 1,000 gold, probably like 2/3 of the round they're gonna die, right? So it takes them like 30 minutes to get the same amount that it took you to make in like 8 minutes. I think that's pretty balanced. And at least HR is full, so when you do kill the rogues, you're like, oh, look at this inventory full of treasure.
Yeah.
They pulled all the shit
There's
out of all
that.
the chests. Now I could like pick him clean. And so I like that part. But
I want people to be able to make money. I really do. But I
Mhm.
think you shouldn't be able to go into a game naked, risking nothing on a rogue, using your increased agility, your double jump, your stealth to completely avoid and skip all the content in the game, looting chests, running away from players, basically just not existing, and getting rewarded thousands of gold for doing so. That to me seems like sure, it's great if you're doing it because you're making money,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's not
nice.
good for the game. Yeah, it's great because you're the one making money, but
Mhm.
it's not healthy. It's not good for the game.
No, I get that take. So I don't run Rogue, but I was kind of doing that with Bard. But with Bard, you don't really get to skip. I mean, I guess you could just blow through rooms and count on your action speed to get you through doors, but you really can't skip that much. You still end up engaging with a lot of the PvE. And if you're trying to keep your buffs up, everybody hears you. So
Mhm.
that I feel like Bard is not nearly as well. I didn't see a lot of other solo bards in HR,
The bard,
certainly in
sorry,
Hell.
like the bard, what you're doing, the bard eco runs is what it should be. Like you're going in there. Sure, you could skip some mobs with going through doors. You could open up chests, have the increased luck, make lots of money.
Yep.
But if somebody sees you and they lock on and they want to chase you down, they can.
Oh, they're
But
getting me.
say
Yeah,
even me, a pretty good player and like a team of other good players, I see a naked rogue. I'm like, okay, I can't chase that guy. If I'm not in like zap range right away, if that guy wants to get away from me, he can.
he's getting away.
It,
Right.
it, if he basically he will only die if he chooses to die, which isn't good.
Right.
Because like he'll double up terrain, he'll open doors way faster than me, he'll close them way faster than me, he'll aggro the entire dungeon, drop aggro, basically griefing a lobby, and that's just not good.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
But no, I agree. I think the Bard eco runs is what the Rogue eco run should be, where there is great reward for going through the dungeon, looting the chest, but you're more vulnerable. Like that is the appropriate vulnerability level. I think it should be. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how they could do it. I always say the issue is double jump. It's been the problem for 5 tests now. They're obviously not going to remove it, but that's where the problem comes from. Being able to scale terrain, open doors fast to everybody, and like just skipping the game it is a problem, I think. And no
Yeah.
matter how weak or strong Rogue is, that will always be like part of their kit. And if there's money to be made, there will be 13 naked rogues in their pajamas ruining lobbies.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see if SDF is going to share the latest data over, well, really over the entire. We haven't seen any new analytics since EA dropped, right? Not a single
Right. They
chart.
haven't. Mm-hmm.
It'd be really interesting to see how things progressed in between the major hot fixes and the big patch, and what the rogue fall off was after the huge nerf, which had to be huge. Because we do know, at least maybe it's anecdotal, but I thought someone had said 50% of the player base at one point were rogues.
Oh, for sure.
Does
That
that
wouldn't
sound right?
surprise me at all.
I would argue
Yeah.
that it would be more.
More,
It'd
more
probably be
than
more
that.
back
From
when
what
they
I've
were
seen, yeah.
assassins. Yeah.
And then we got the nerf, and I guarantee it bottomed at that point. But then they brought it
Mhm.
back a little bit, and now I mean, Nate, I'm with you, man. Like that's all I see in ruins. It's half the lobby is naked rogues,
Ah.
and half of them are friendly. And in crypts and HR, I didn't do that many. I mean, I've run quite a few, but I don't know, man. I don't know how you solve the problem without completely killing the class. And we've had this talk, at least this variant of the nerf rogue talk is a little bit different now, at least than what it's been in the past.
Yeah, this is great.
But
If this is like the rogue bashing that they're just running around naked looting too much, this is like the 10-minute weekly rogue thing, and I have nothing to say. Like this
Yeah.
is nice. If the only issue is that there's too many of them, and that they're just kind of like a little bit too fast and they're looting a little bit too much, that's nice to come down from where we used to be. Like we were at like a 10 for all time annoyance. Now they're like a pesky 3 and they're taking up too many player slots.
Yeah, so they're not like problematic player versus
Mhm.
player wise, but like it's a problem, right? They are ruining lobbies. Like, I get into a game and I'm like, all right, well, I mean, sure, it's a full lobby, but it's an empty lobby. So, all right, well, minus 15 minutes of
Oh
my life
god.
until I find a portal.
Nice. See,
Yeah.
you're of the mentality that you want to be fighting 5 other squads, and each squad needs to have like some
Well,
sort
at
of
least a
comp
couple.
and be kind of
Like,
Yeah,
weird and be
I would be
battling it
happy.
out.
I'd be happy with one. I'd be
All
happy
right,
with one. But
to
right
ruins
now,
with you. All right, ruins is the battle map now. You
I'm
meta
there.
shift.
I'm there. It's all rogues.
it's still
It's
at
It's
least
all
half
rogues all the
yeah.
way down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating here. We're back to over 50% of the lobby being rogues in their pajamas, and it's right before leaderboard season, and leaderboard's going to turn into what it was last season of who could log into the map and hunt down the naked rogues faster, and that's going to determine who is the highest in the leaderboard, and that is lame.
Well, what do you think? Should they do shadow limit behind the scenes to where they only allow a certain amount of solos in high roller crypts? Where you say there's a max of 6 solos that can come in, or whatever the number would need to be.
The solution's been
6.
suggested, but the problem is if you do that, all the rogues are in just going to be in like LFG chat saying, hey, 3 other rogue players looking for, group solo parties, so we can queue up as a 3-man, but they'll just play like triple solo rogue anyway. And
That's genius.
people,
Good
yeah, I
call.
know,
Yeah.
that's an apt solution. Like it's great in theory. Like if eliminating the amount of solo players in a lobby would work, but it just wouldn't. There'd be too many workarounds. Sadly, I don't know
Yeah.
what the solution is. I think the problem is fundamentally the road kit. It's always been the problem, but I don't know how you can fix it without, like I said, ruining the class identity. Maybe normalizing the speed of opening doors might be a step in the right direction. I think being able to open doors super fast and close them before somebody else can, you're ultimately gaining ground on the opponent every time you do that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Maybe that's like a step in the right direction, but
Wizard Lock will be interesting if and
yeah, I'm
when
excited
that
for that.
comes out. That'll
I'm terrified
be
for that.
some nice
I'm worried.
gameplay. But shoot, what was the other point? You just reminded me of something.
I'm talking about
Shoot.
rogues, leaderboards.
So yeah, the just the fact that they can go stealth and de-aggro, I think if you add, especially in HR, normals might be a little bit aggressive, but in HR, if you're adding like a true sight ability to some of the mobs where you don't make it as easy for the rogues to just pass through a room undetected, that would be something that would at least mitigate that a little bit, right? Without completely
That's not a bad idea.
breaking the class or the
That's
kit,
not a
but
bad idea at all.
give the
Yeah.
mobs, the ability to see invisible
Like
characters.
bats or something. Like all bats have true sight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, something like that, where you could add 1 or 2 to every third room so that they can't just traverse the entire map undetected.
That's a step in the right direction for sure. That's a good suggestion, actually. Very much so like that. But I saw somebody smirking over there. So you think like you think rogues being 50% or lobbies being 50% rogues is like good gameplay? It's a
I
good
don't know,
time?
man. Like I don't play trios very often, so it's nice to me to like finally have the ability for like the regular population to go into trios and not just get giga stomped all day every day. Like there's a bunch of other little fuckers in there roaming around, a bunch of little rogues, a bunch of little rats. Like I play my vampire solo all the time in there now because I know half the lobby is rogues. And so I actually have like a good chance of surviving because there's not 5 3-mans in gear zooming everywhere. And I know for a fact come Friday that's going to change and all the juicers will be back in there. And so at least right now, I like that there's this short period of time of like a week where I can go in there with my friends and I can go in there with random comps and I can just go in there solo and I can play rogue. And sure, like a bunch of the lobby is rogues and like a bunch of people are friendly, but I kind of like that. But I understand from your guys' perspective that you want to go back to battles and like a crazy 5-party battle royale system. So I'm like smirking because I don't know what the solution is, and I really like it right now, but like probably it should change. I hear what you guys are saying. Um, don't you think Friday it'll change though? Like
Like, of
once.
course, I want battles, right? Of course, but like, I'm not like solely from the perspective. I don't mind the occasional like rogue riding around making money. The problem is
Mm,
when it's more than half my lobby consistently every match for the entire week. I'm like, okay, well, mm, it's not just me. Everybody's games must be. Because I'm feeling like my games are being diluted. It's like you're watering down my video game with all these rogues, and
mm,
there are lobbies that I play that are just full, but they're not. They're dead lobbies, and
all
because
right.
it's just kind of lame. And a lot of them are just RMTers. I think it's mostly a West Coast problem because a lot of the RMTers are West Coast because of the ping. It's a much less of a problem playing East and EU.
Mm,
Also, on the Oceanic servers, the Oceanic players have been complaining that it's really bad in the Oceanic servers, where it's
Hmm.
just RMT rogue players farming. Like the game is almost unplayable for these guys, and I feel very bad about it. I don't know. Said I want I want there to be rat rogues in my games. I just don't want it to be so disproportional that it skews the balance of the lobby. Like 1, 2, 3 rogues riding around while you have like 3 normal teams and maybe some duos. Like that's healthy.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
whatever gets us to that kind of balance is good. I just don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, I have found, and maybe this is stating the obvious, but if you get a padded tunic with any amount of weapon damage on it and you need money, you go to one place. You go to the Rogues trade chat.
Oh yeah.
And you will get top dollar for that padded tunic there, because not only does it benefit them the most, so weapon damage flat out for the daggers is huge, obviously, but they have the most money. They got gold ingot to throw around like it's nothing. You can just walk in there and throw a 1 gold ingot price on anything and you'll get people looking at it. It's nuts.
Mhm. It doesn't matter how weak Rogue is, what patch we're on, they got the money and
Yep.
they want the gear. So
Yep.
Rogue gear is always, they can be the worst dog shit class in the game. Good rapiers, good weapon damage tunics, weapon damage jewelry will always sell top dollar because of these little fucking weasels. And it's nice. That is nice.
What's also nice is no matter how geared they get, they're always paper. Like any other rogue, even naked, can kill a rogue. If you just squeeze in like 4 or 5 hits with your little Ron Diesel, your little gray, and you stack 5 poison and a rupture, you probably just killed like any geared rogue in the game. Point in fact, I was playing with Jonah Vale on Ruins, and I was on a default rogue, and another rogue was like talking shit in VoIP, and he just W keyed to me, and I just crouched down and was just stabbing him, and he died. Man had Death Bloom, like the artifact dagger. He had like 5 uniques. And I was just like, this guy is as geared as a rogue can be. And he just lost to it like a literal naked because I got 4 or 5 stabs off. So like at least rogues are like way more balanced. And they really nerfed hide. They nerfed hide into the fucking ground. Like you have to use it after you hear them opening the door. And then you have a very small window to like make your opportunity attack. So
What
like,
is it
they're in a
now?
good
How
state of
long?
balance.
20 seconds? 25?
It's like 20 seconds. Yeah. It's like a
And
minute
does
cooldown.
any attribute or stat increase benefit
Prob-
that skill?
Probably
Will.
might, yeah, but
Will?
like
Oh, yeah.
it's probably never gonna get to where it was. Like they used to hide for hours.
Honestly, I like, I mean, obviously I'm biased. I like where Rogue is at a power level inside
Same.
combat. I think it feels like it's still strong when executed properly on the Rogue's
Mhm.
end. Like
Mhm.
I can still get 2.5, 3 shot a lot of time if they're like medium geared, which I think is where their time to kill should be. But like they are punished for not playing well now. Like they just don't get a
Yeah.
40
Yes.
second. They can't hide for 40 seconds super out of sound range and then get you. Like they have to like be very smart with their hide and use it efficiently and to get the ambush off, and that's how it should be.
Yeah,
And
they're
they were
an
getting,
actual assassin now
yep.
instead of just a W King one shot.
Yeah, I think they're at like an appropriate power level inside combat, like in like a player versus players scenario. I still think they're busted mobility wise and writing maps, but inside of combat, I think they're in a good spot. I would maybe even buff some of the less used abilities, like the can crossbow perks, maybe the poison stuff. But I think they're pretty good. I'm happy fighting rogues. Like a rogue will sometimes get a jump on me, but if they fuck it up, I have the opportunity to then fight back.
Right.
Whereas
There
before
is counterplay. Yeah.
a rogue get the jump on me, they would fuck up, and if they would have another chance to just one shot me with their next attack.
Right.
And I see a lot of rogues. They're running like short sword now, and that seems to be the meta: short sword or rapier.
Hmm.
And the short sword is really good. It
Yeah.
attacks so fast.
Yep.
I've had some quote unquote feel bad moments where like a rogue just like 3 shots me with a short sword, but he's 3 shotting me, but he attacks so fast with that short sword. I'm like, wow. Obviously, he hit me 3 times in the head very fast. He played very well, and he got
Mhm.
rewarded for playing well. But like
Yep.
before, like last patch, I would get 2 tap to the body. So having that difference feels great.
Yep.
I think we're in a good spot.
So while we're talking about class balance, the 2 biggest topics for us obviously have been Rogue. Second's been Ranger. We did talk about Barbarian a little bit, but let's camp on Ranger for a minute. I don't know about you guys. I got one shot by Soma's buddy Flow Tag. I got one shot by him in Ruins the other day. Purple longbow. I was playing Warlock at the time. I was at full health and I got one tapped, and it was like, okay. I didn't even see him. I saw his buddy. His buddy was coming at me and I was trying to evade. I stepped into the shadows and thought I was going to be able to make an escape, and then I was just dead. One arrow to the head.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
there
it's
there
like,
is a lot of damage. There's a lot of damage in the game on gear specifically, and I like that gear is rolling high damage because it makes like higher variance in gear and makes gearing interesting. But I think the way you counter or counter that is lowering damage on like weapons and spell books in general.
Hmm.
So like getting weapon damage on gear is super awesome, but it's not like game breaking when you're putting it on top of your 50 damage epic longbow. Because I've had similar experience where like I'll be fighting a ranger on rune specifically, and if I get a headshot, I'm dead. Or if I
Yep.
get
Yeah.
shot in the body, I am one hit and I'm slow
Yep.
because I just got hit. So I'm
Yep.
gonna get hit again and I'm dead. So it's been a problem for a while.
hmm
It's not a problem if you're wearing PDR, but if you're not wearing PDR, like it's just you're getting one shot from out of sight range, and it's very low risk for these rangers just to be shooting arrows in your direction. They don't have like spell memory like a caster does, where they if they miss 5 shots in a row, they're out. You know, they just hit R and they could do it all again.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think
Well,
you saw nerf damage or increase armor across the board or something.
Yep, it's way
speaking
too
of,
oppressive right now, and with the healing changes, they're always up. If they start the fight and they see you, they're always up. They hit you once with the longbow. So recently, I've been playing Ranger, and like I mentioned, I have a lot of Spears of Rot and Centaur's Madness, and like I get somewhat kitted in like let's just say green blues, and it all has weapon damage on it or power. I'm hitting on the Trinity dummy for like 130 on a headshot, and I can fire 3 arrows with triple shot. I can just erase a team if I have really good aim, and there's really nothing they can do about it. And unless, like Ken mentioned, unless they're like super PDR'd out, like it's
Mhm.
only basically one or maybe two classes that can sustain any hits from the Ranger. And if you swap to the longbow, it's even worse. Like you can get up to like 140, 150 on like a really nice longbow headshot. So I don't know. It's a sniper rifle, but it also has a triple shot and a shotgun at close range. So I think Iron Mace knows though. I'm pretty sure that's next up on the chopping block. And like everyone's been mentioning it, and like it's now we're getting the Reddit threads like we used to have for rogues, and just saying like
Mhm.
daily reminder to nerf Ranger. So like, but I do think having said all that, we're like at the closest point of balance that we've ever been at in the
Mm.
game. And a huge point of factor that Nizori brought up with me last night was that one thing is just the game's already been out for multiple wipes, and people are really good now. It's like Tarkov level of people have learned the routes, they've learned where to go, where not to go, where people will go. And so new players are going to have a really hard time learning the game. But I don't know, I had a really hard time learning Tarkov, but I love the game and I just kept going at it. And so I think we're going to have a similar thing with Dark and Darker.
Yeah,
Especially each new wipe, it'll just bring everybody back.
the game is as close to a balance as it's been in a long time. Like I said, we're really like
I agree.
nitpicking here by like
Yeah,
dissecting Ranger,
I
but like
agree.
that's what we do, right? We're just trying to get the game as balanced as
Yep.
possible, and I think we're in a pretty good spot. I just think time to kill is still too short as a whole, and Ranger is at like the top of that pyramid
Yep.
of very high time to kill against most classes. And I think a lot of the problem is I was thinking about it. All it's kind of I guess rogues too, but all no rogues want to stack other abilities too or other stats, but rangers just want to stack weapon damage. They don't really have any other chase stats, so they could really just weapon damage, weapon damage, weapon damage on their gear on every item. At least like
Right.
from a caster perspective, like sure flat magic damage is like the comparison, but like sure I want flat magic damage, but like I gotta get like my certain intellect or my certain knowledge, and I gotta get my certain amount of will and a certain amount of
Right.
health, so I'm not getting one shot. So I had to like balance other stats before I have the luxury of stacking added magic damage. Or at least that's how I
Yeah.
look at it from a caster perspective.
Yeah,
Where
same.
on Ranger, where you don't have that, you don't like have to hit a certain agility threshold or a certain amount of strength. You can just stack weapon damage and that be your best in slot. And maybe if they had other priority stats that took a
That's a
certain
great
like
call.
you needed over weapon damage, it would lower the amount of weapon damage they were able to build.
And that's an easy one, right? Just tie bow damage to something else. Like we've
hmm
said it for a long time that like Ranger's primary stat shouldn't be strength. It should be like I don't know agility or what have you. Because then they're fast and they hit hard, but they also don't get the health pool bonus. So
hmm
maybe I don't know tie it to like make dexterity a new stat and it's specifically for range damage.
Or you can make like weapon damage only apply to melee, and you can make just a plus physical really for like the range weapons.
hmm
Just off the top, I mean, maybe that's not a good idea, but something along those lines.
Yeah, and that also hurts crossbows a little bit because crossbows are also pretty boosted. It doesn't feel that great to get basically one shot by a crossbow
hmm
most of the time. So I don't know, like range damage is a small issue in the game, and they did a good job balancing the magic. But I feel like the bows and the crossbows need like a little bit. Yeah, but like you said, we're kind of nitpicking, which is
Yeah,
nice. It's nice there's not a glaring issue at the moment.
How are you feeling about barbarians? I haven't done much 3v3s, so I haven't ran into too many buff ball comps. The buff ball comps I have run into, I've been able to deal with them because I'm just so used to it now. But they do feel toned down. I still think playing buff ball barbarian is still probably the strongest thing you could be doing in the game, while also being the easiest. But it definitely feels way more manageable than it's been in the past. I'm not sure if you guys have dealt with many barbarians recently.
I feel like I barely see them. It's usually a fighter or now a cleric on the front line, rocking like 50 to 60% PDR, and then they also have like some wills. They can have some mid-range pressure on the way in for the holy strikes and the earthquakes. You know what? I do have. If we can just shift slightly, you know what? Actually, let's get Arcane's perspective on barbarian, and then I want to swap to cleric a little bit. Like
Yeah, we
cleric
can
needs
keep
some
this
nerf.
short. I'm with you guys. I haven't seen that many. I did one incident. I recall I was on Ruins and I was playing Bard solo. And to be fair, I didn't have Accelerando running, but I got chased down by the fastest Bard I have ever seen. It was terrifying. And obviously, I can get through doors fast and I can still move fast. I thought I had a full room head start on this guy. I shut the door behind me. I felt like halfway across into the next module. And before I knew it, the wizard fireballed the door. It was a wizard and a barb. And it felt like a half a second later, that barb was on top of me with a quarterstaff, 2 taps me, and I'm gone before I could. I literally jumped out of my seat. I was so scared that he had caught me that fast, so shocked that he had caught me that fast. Like, I hadn't had one of those holy shit moments in like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. And it was from a barbarian. And holy Lord, was he kidded. But I don't even know, like 350 is the max move speed now,
Yeah.
right? Like they hard
Maybe he got a
capped it.
haste though, like from the whiz.
I probably
Oh, yeah,
should have
had to be, yeah.
reported him. Like the speed was so insanely fast. And it was like, what can I do? Like I had no way to deal with that. But luckily that was a isolated incident. I haven't dealt with too many nasty buff ball barbarians myself. So I think, if we tone down, we talked about this last week. I think you did, Ken, when we were on Darkest Hour. You can't give them the ability to be a tank, a high damage dealer, and high magic resist all at the same time. Like that's still an issue, but I don't feel like people are abusing it as much as they probably should be abusing it.
It'll be more telling when Friday comes and leaderboards are out and like people are playing their best in slot comps. If it's still a problem, I think it's like it's not that fun to play. So when there isn't leaderboards, I don't think everybody's playing it.
Yeah.
People abuse it for when leaderboards are out or like when they have to get money or something. So come Friday, we'll know a lot more. But it's definitely better than it was. I think Iron Mace did very smart nerfs to the barbarian. They minus I think the magic res was like the wrong direction because you want them to be the magic res tank and not the armor tank. But they like targeted their gear, they hit the leggings, they hit their chest pieces, and like that's exactly what you should be nerfing. They nerfed their mobility, so like that was smart on their end. Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction. Definitely better than what it was. It feels way more manageable. When I see a buff ball, I'm not like, oh, I guess I'm just dead. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a hard fight, but there are things I could do, and that's what it should be.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that was perfect.
All right. What
so
do you want to move
cleric-
on to, Josh?
I think cleric needs a bit of a nerf because it's now that we've got the earth wizards out in play, right, with the earthquakes and the holy strikes. These spells take 0 skill at all to use, and they're some of the strongest spells in the game. They're basically low IQ wizards at this point, and they're so very strong. The AoE on both of those spells is huge. Earthquake lasts a tremendous amount of time, so I think those need a slight nerf, or maybe move them to the druid entirely, and return cleric, because cleric can play every role right now, and it plays all roles well. And maybe that's what they're going for. They want each class to have like a variety of subclasses, but I just think cleric overall is too strong. It gets played. It can still cast fast as hell, even though it's played. It's one of the first games I've ever played where they're like tanky and they're extremely strong in magic and they're very strong in melee now that everything has armor piercing. So I don't know what it is. Like I think you have to give Holy Strike the same thing that Lightning Strike has, where it's a small delay, and then also lower the AoE range. It's crazy that they can hit
That
the
would
whole
be fair.
group.
I would agree with that. That
Like
would
it's
be
just
fair.
a really strong spell, and they have 4, and they just chug Clarity Potions and keep spamming them. So I don't know. I like the nitpicky as well, but bring Cleric down a little bit.
Well,
Like they've
clarity
always been
pots for the
strong.
they were the great equalizer. Like Clarity Pots just made it convenient for wizards because they already had a mechanism for getting their spells back fast with Meditate, obviously. But Clarity Pots completely changed high-end cleric play, 100%. So I don't know. Maybe you start there so that they can't just spam spells. They should have to really think about it.
And they're expensive, but like I don't like that we can't count spells anymore. It makes the outplay potential kind of weak. Like I understand that we kind of need clarity potions in a way, but at the same time, Bard is in a good enough spot now, and wizards have meditate. Like give cleric the ability to meditate, maybe, but like they shouldn't be able to use six holy strikes and 3 earthquakes over the course of a fight.
Right. Yeah, I
That's
agree.
just area denial to the max.
Yep.
Yeah, like the offensive spells in particular in cleric are problematic. Like Holy Strike on its own isn't like a super high base damage ability, but it does scale decently well. And like what you said earlier, the problem with it is it's so easy to hit. It's
Right.
instant cast in a giant AoE. It's like I can close my eyes against a 3-minute, and I can probably hit 2 of them just with my headphones alone. You know what I mean? And Earthquake is insane. The Earthquake is basically an AoE stun. It's a giant AoE stun, and in a game where there are no giant AoE stuns, so it feels crazy that having a giant AoE stun on the support class that also has 70 PDR that could heal with 150 HP. It's a little crazy. It is a little crazy. I don't know. I'm not sure what they could do. I think Earthquake is just like fundamentally doesn't really fit into the game that well. Maybe they could rework the ability and change it so it's just like a slow that does like AoE damage, but not like instantly kills you if you're moving. Because it's crazy that if you take 2 steps, you die, or and then you have to stand still, which is a death sentence in and of itself. I don't know, it's a little weird.
Yeah,
Or
I think
have
they
some
should
kinda
tone down the
counterplay.
damage. Maybe make the movement speed penalty a little bit more. I mean, it's already 50%, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like 50% is pretty significant. So I don't even know if you need to amp that up at all. But yeah, toning down the damage, I think, would be fair on that for sure. Locust Swarm needs a rework. And yeah, I agree completely that Holy Strike needs to have a higher skill cap in the way that you cast it. The range isn't bad. I feel like the range is appropriate. Like you can't go too far away with it.
Yeah, the range is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I would swap out. I mean, if they can't figure out how to deal with Earthquake and if it doesn't really belong in the game, I would gladly see that swapped out for something that gives us a little bit more utility or some way to disengage. I mean, right now, and you're saying it's instant cast. I'm telling you, unless you're geared, which now it's kind of easy to get geared, so there is that argument. But if you're playing like with grays, whites, greens, you're not insta casting anything
Not Earthquake,
except
yeah, no.
Bless. Like you need a half hour to cast freaking Earthquake, and even Holy Strike is still not. It's not even close to instacast. It takes a little time. So that's the great equalizer. But once you get gear on, I can see how both of those are extremely problematic.
It would be interesting if, kind of like how wearing heavier gear makes you move slower. If like the heavier you gear, the more it affects your cast speed.
Yeah,
And
every game has that.
Mm-hmm.
You sacrifice cast speed for wearing plate.
Yeah, because it would be a real cost. Okay, I want to be this heavy cleric, really tanky, but because of this, now my really long casting spells, i.e., Holy Strike and Earthquake, are going to be more cumbersome.
Yeah,
so there will be, and then if you want to do like this quote unquote Earth Wizard, you want to be lighter, and that honestly makes perfect sense. Oh, that's good. Yeah, put that one down.
Yep, good call.
But I like that. Yeah, but yeah, no. I think besides that, Cleric feels like it's in a pretty good spot. They feel like I see Cleric. I feel like I could. It's basically just Holy Strike and Earthquake. That's the problem for me. I think their support abilities are fine. Like the problem with Holy Strike is the AoE is so huge. I could be behind cover, away from a cleric, like 2 meters behind cover, and the AoE will still just hit me.
Wrap.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
But I think they're aware of it. They already touched Earthquake a bit because Earthquake was crushing people.
Yeah, but I was doing actual 2x damage. Like it was actually bugged. And I still think the damage is a little bit too high. Because like you said, like you're always moving. Also, it's not like anyways, we'll leave that as it is. We kind of all agree it needs some little bit of a nerf here or there, but overall great direction.
How do you feel about all the mats being in rotation?
The crafting mats?
No, maps. Sorry. So they brought high roller maps down to normals.
Oh,
Love
that's
it.
right.
I love it.
maps,
You love
like,
it.
Yeah, I love
yeah,
it.
it's
I love
great.
it. Yep.
More. Give us more.
Give us
Yeah.
more. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm loving it
I
too.
like.
I load in and I'm never bored. I'm never because like playing High Roller was exhausting. You'd be like, oh, we had this map. Oh, we had this map. Okay, whatever.
Mhm.
Play the same 2 maps over and over again. But now, like every time I learn a match, it's fresh.
Mhm.
Like sure, I'm starting to learn them all now, but it's a lot more to learn than just 2 maps, and it's
Right.
always every game feels very unique. And going back to the point of like the game not feeling boring, part of
Yep.
it is the map diversity. Every time I go
Mhm.
in, I have a different route. I'm never doing the same route. I'm not rushing the same spawns anymore. I'm always
Yep.
doing something a little different. I'm like, oh, we have this map. We have this and this map and this map. Cool, cool, cool. Like, oh, we're
Yep.
here. We can go here. Like it's always fresh, and I think more. Just give us more maps. The more, the
Yep.
better.
Yep.
The more
That's
maps you
probably
add,
my only complaint about Ruins right now is that because you only have that one map, like the spawn rushing and the people that know that map, well, it's just out of control there.
Mhm.
Everybody knows where the gold is, the royals. Like if you spawn in the top left corner of the map or the module 2 down from that, you have a limited amount of time before 2 people come rushing in there to
Probably
take your
more.
royal coffin.
Mhm.
Yeah, or more.
I just
Right.
I had at the Northwest conflict ore spot. I had 5 teams in the first 30 seconds. Like
Yeah.
I came into that and there was a rogue killing a warlock. I killed the rogue. 2 rogues came into the cave when I was mining, and just as they came in, a barbarian and cleric came in behind them, and we're all just looking at each other. And I was like, "This is death. Like
Yeah.
everyone here is dead." I like the fact that the conflict ore, almost all of the cave systems are one way in, one way out. So you can always ambush. There's like a huge risk to gathering the ore. Um, but yeah, that could use some variations. I think
The
what we
the
should
amount of times
do.
I've been pinned in those caves. Sorry to cut you off, but
No,
like the
no,
amount of
please, please.
times I've been like pinned in a cave and like I'm like, oh, this sucks. But
Mhm.
but but when I say it sucks, that's good. I'm being
Yeah.
punished for being greedy.
Yeah.
I was
Especially when you hear
taunted.
them. Yeah.
I was taunted by
Yeah.
the ore, and
Mhm.
Yep.
now I'm stuck in this cave, and there's some warlock spamming hydras, and I'm pinned.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, we just got to outlast them until another team comes by and jumps them. And
Yep.
it always happens. If you just bunker down in the cave and turtle up, if they're outside, they're at the risk because
Mhm.
another team's coming, and once they get jumped, that's when you can leave. And
Yeah.
it's actually like fighting in the like over the ore is
It's
actually a
really
lot of fun.
cool. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
crazy.
I like having hotspots. I think the game could use more hotspots on the other maps because like having points of contestation is like very good,
Mhm.
and
I
getting
agree.
people all to go to an area for even if it's uncontested, you get a reward for it. But then if it's contested, you get a battle out of it. So it's like a win-win. We need
Mhm.
more hotspots in some of these other maps. I'm not saying add gold or to crypts or anything, but like something worth hunting for of value. Like it's not worth it to go around hunting down champions and race. Give us something unique to crypts that's like sought after, that's map specific, that will create hotspots similar to what ruins would be. I think that'd be very good.
Mhm. And now we know that they can do it, right? You limit gold ore somewhere, and then you make it tied to the end game stuff, and now you have a whole rotation of battles and like an economy around it. And so they can easily do the same to crypt. Add like an HR crypt specific resource. You need something to get it. Like let's say it's spider web. Like I know it's random and we can already get it as a drop, but like you have to wear spider silk gathering gloves, and now everyone brings in like a 25 gold pair of gloves, and you have to equip it and then try to grab the spider web, and like that in and of itself could lead to the same sort of system. But I think we should stick to the current queue. I like solo, duos, trios, and let's add more maps to those. So like let's put Cyclops and the snow map into the solo queue. And now instead of queuing Goblin Cave, you just queue solo. And you get like the HR Goblin map, you get like the normal Goblin map, or you get, the snow map. And if they do that and they keep those rotating, that's going to keep the game really fresh. Like you just go solo, you get like one of like 18 variants. Because right now that's how it is with Crypt, right? There's like 6 or 8 maps, and then they're the same pretty much 6 or 8 maps when you go HR. So now you're practicing for HR in norms,
Yeah.
and I think that it brings a lot of viability.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I
it's
want no more
nice,
queues. I want like so do a trio.
like
I think it's
fast
okay.
queues.
Yeah.
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 Whatever maps they add in the future, put them in one of those 3 categories and
Hmm.
just throw them into rotation. Don't make it separate. I agree. Like, any new, I kind of like this. Don't have a third teammate. I'll go queue duo. I like having the option. I really do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind playing duo crypts if like duo crypts was in the duo rotation. I wouldn't mind it honestly. But
I don't
Yep.
think anybody would. That would be really cool if it
mm,
was the same amount
Yeah.
of players.
No,
You
that'd
get
be
like 10
great.
teams in there.
Yep.
You can also duo the bosses. I think every boss in this game, I've soloed almost all of them except Warlord now. They're all duoable for sure.
mm.
If anything, duo is like just as good as trios because then you have enough people to absorb the Lich. You can rotate around Ghost King. So, what do you guys think about Warlord coming to HR? Is that exciting?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, he's coming. They've decided that he needs to be moved into Inferno HR and be one of the 3 bosses.
Well, it's cool, I guess. It'll get more gold out of the economy because 1/3 of the time you're just not going to be doing bosses now, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. He's
What do
probably
you
gonna be one of the
guys-
hardest bosses to grief. at
Yeah, what do you
least.
guys think the success rate is currently on what, let's say, above average kitted teams? Let's just say average. Your average kitted team that goes down to Inferno, 3 people fighting the Warlord, success rate estimates. 50%.
6%.
Yeah, I was gonna say
6.
10%. Yeah.
10?
Like 6 to
Yeah.
10.
Oh,
I have fought Warlord even in
Whoa.
legendaries a shitload of times, and we've almost always wiped. I've killed him like 4 times
holy
ever.
cow.
Well, like
Yeah.
first of all, you need a cleric. Like you, in theory, you could do it without a cleric, but like if you need holy purification, you have to kill the ads. Ideally, the best way to fight Warlord is just to have 2 clerics, so you instantly kill the ads every time. That kind of makes it really easy. But unless you're doing that, like these average teams going down there, you make one mistake, he kills one person, he gets a huge buff from killing somebody, and
Huge buff.
That buff
That's fucking
is
out of
basically a wipe.
control. That's
It's
a
not like-
wipe.
Yeah, it's not like Ghost King kills your fucking teammate. He gets an extra scream. Lich kills your teammate. He gets a big shield. Now it's okay. Warlord killed somebody. If the rest of you stay in this fight, you're going to die. You're on
fucked,
a timer.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his buff is way too crazy.
Not to mention like the amount of times the boss bugs out, the amount of people dying to the
Mhm.
bug. Like the boss is not HR ready. I think it's a huge mistake. Even if the boss wasn't even bugging out, I still think it's just a miserable boss to fight and shouldn't be in HR.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is that it's the only boss where it's impossible to recover your teammate's solar gear. If you walk back in that room, you're dead because the ads teleport in front of you, they block the doors, you get stuck in the bone prison, they throw knives, you're dead. That boss is fucking crazy.
That's a good point. Like at least like sometimes if your teammate dies on a boss, you can go recover gear and like try to salvage the play. But if your teammate dies on a Warlord and he's not in a good spot, sorry man, you gotta leave it behind. You gotta leave it behind.
So many times I've died getting my teammate's stuff, and now I'm just like, no. They're like, but it's Biss. I'm like, I don't care. You shouldn't have died. I don't know what to say.
So do we
death
think
if I go back in
maybe-
there?
Do we think maybe they'll move the current build of the Warlord over to High Roller as it is and then nerf the Warlord for normals? Does that
That
seem
would be
like a
great.
reasonable approach? Or does it still, if they just move it, if they
it's
fix the
still too
bugs,
hard.
So
And-
what you just suggested is super reasonable, and that means they're not gonna do it. They will not.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna give him a huge buff in HR, and he used to kill the whole room on a sword swing if someone's dead. Now he kills like all of Inferno. He swings horizontal and half the modules die.
Yeah, I can see that.
He is boosted, man.
It's like not even a fun fight either. Like Ghost King is like fighting Ghost King is fun and like exciting. If you mess up, like you get punished for it. But when I fight Warlord, I'm just like, fuck it. It's only a matter of time before I roll some bad dice here and get some bad RNG and he kills me. That's what it feels like. I really feel like I'm just rolling dice when I fight him.
Yeah, both his ads throwing daggers, and then when he does the dagger storm, like both of those basically one shot you. Even if you're geared, and like it's like Ken always talks about in PvP, like the feels bad moment when like you're trying to get a hit in and you're trying to rotate, and then he just suddenly throws daggers out around him, and if you're within like 6 feet, you die. And I'm just like, what? Like I'm in legendary, like what the fuck, man? I don't like you have to have a shield, like yeah, it's too comp based. You have to have specific things, and I don't like it
Yeah,
either.
very comp
As
based.
somebody who always gets everyone to do it and pisses everybody off, I've suggested some nerfs. Like it needs to be weaker. It's not a fun fight, especially in norms. Like Nate always says, even if we win, what are we really getting in normal? Like 2 purples, and like we've sacked so many gear sets and so many legos fighting that guy.
The risk
not
is
worth it.
never worth the reward on
Yeah.
Warlord. Like, sure, do it for content. I get it. It's fun sometimes, but like,
Also,
yeah, no.
they nerfed him, right? Like they nerfed all the normal bosses. I don't remember reading it, but normal bosses no longer drop legendaries.
Yeah.
And there's no treasure hoard. So like bosses are worse than ever to go for when every other chest in Inferno gives you like 3 or 4 purples and capes and
Until
like
Friday.
crafting mats. Yeah, until Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, bosses not dropping stuff is like lame, but I do like having going to hell and having the choice. Okay, are we bossing? We're gonna spend a lot of our large percentage of our time doing the boss, or are we gonna do like the Minotaur Triforce, where we're gonna
Mm.
go around the world and farm the money rooms? And like having that choice is actually cool and interesting. I like
It
Yeah.
the
is.
fact
Yep.
that it is a choice. So that
And
is cool.
I just remembered as well that they added the crafting loot. Like I just got my first void essence from killing the lich. That's
Mhm.
like a gold key on the spot because everybody wants void blade. And like that part is nice that the bosses have some bigly loot just in their loot table. Plus you can get gold keys. I've never had one from a normal boss, but they can drop. So there is like a lot of very rare loot. I'm also excited to see them expand on that. Like, do you guys think when we get hideouts, what if we got like a little cosmetic drop, like a 0.1% chance to get like the lich's head, and then you can sell it on auction or like put it in your hideout? I
I mean,
think
I would love
those could
that.
go really far. Even like a pet.
As a trophy or as a crafting
Yeah, like as a
material?
trophy or like I mean crafting material those exist, but like we can expand on it. But like what if you
Mhm.
kill a dire wolf and you can pull auto on like 1 in a million? Like imagine how many gold keys and auto will be worth that you can put in your
Mhm.
hideout and he just roams around.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Surely that would be
That
cool.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the crafting in general is like has been one of my favorite things that they've added to the game recently. I just love
Mhm.
how interesting it not only makes crafting itself interesting, but like looting interesting. Because I pick up so much more shit that I wouldn't normally pick up. I loot mobs I wouldn't normally loot because I'm like,
Mhm.
I get some demon's blood. Oh, okay, I'm looking for the
Mhm.
fucking the salami sticks, the centaur tails.
Those tails, man. I've been
Yeah,
chasing them.
and like
I've never had a
I
horn,
craft
but
a lot. I craft
yeah.
a lot. Like I craft gear every day. Like every day, every after every game, I'm looking at my tailors and my leather workers and my
Mhm.
weaponsmiths. I'm looking for good rolls. And if I get them, like I'm making cape of darkness, I'm making robes of darkness, I'm making the demon clad sets. I'm looking for mana spheres. Like I'm like it's cool that crafting is in, and I can't wait for them to add more of it because I think the best end game gear should be crafted. I think I'm not sure if that's a hot take or not, but it is very rewarding to go around to ruins, to crypts, to goblin caves, farm these materials, buy these
Mhm.
materials, and then craft an awesome piece of armor that when I bring into raid, it feels good. I don't know.
Yep.
I like it.
I
Yep.
like that too. That's a good call. And it
Mm.
really is best in slot. Like some of my spears of rod are like +1 all, +3 strength, +4 weapon damage, +6 power. Like though it's really basically this. At least on the legendary level. And the fact is you're probably never gonna roll uniques or artifacts that are like that much better. And that the chances of getting those are so low anyway that I
Yeah.
agree with you. What do you guys think about the current system for artifacts and uniques? I really like that they're pretty exclusive to HR bosses and that they're very, very rare. I don't really want
Mhm.
them to intrude upon the game world. I think they're too expensive, but I also think that it feels like almost nothing is better. So far I've gotten 2 artifacts this wipe, and like each time I'm like, no way. Like, wow, I killed 200 last wipe, I didn't get one. Now I've killed 20 and I have 2. Like it feels really good to know that I just got 10 to 20 gold keys from like 1 drop.
Yeah, I think the rarity of artifacts is fine.
Yeah, it's a good
I think
spot.
it's what it should be. Like it's very inaccessible to the average player, like
Mhm.
me included. And like I think that's
Mhm.
okay. I think it's because they're so powerful. Because like when there's somebody in my lobby who has a full gore or has like a artifact, everyone's like, oh shit.
Mhm.
I get the same feeling I got like years ago playing Star Wars Galaxies, where if you would run into a Jedi, you're like, oh shit, this guy is a badass. Like we got to be careful. Like you get a similar feeling when you see a guy with an artifact in this game. So like,
Especially Fulgore, man. They're
mm,
spinning and you hit like 7 people in the lobby and the dummies. There's just lightning everywhere and they're like, "Oh, it's Fulgore." Like, I don't know. Everyone comes over and starts like bowing.
no, it's awesome. I would like to see them do maybe some end of season events, kind of like Tarkov does, where maybe
Mhm.
at the end of a season, maybe they just like give out artifacts like the last couple of days for everybody to
That's what
just
I said
to
too.
fuck around with.
Buy them from
And
Jack, like 90
oh
candy.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
and the
great idea. Oh,
candy
yep.
prices skyrocket. Everybody has
Mhm.
artifacts. Like that'd be sweet.
That's a good idea, actually. That's a very good idea. Write that one down.
It's artifactual.
So are you excited for leaderboard grinding?
I actually am, yeah.
Meh.
I'm really, really enjoying the current state of the game, but it truly gives me something to work toward and look forward to. And now I'm trying to figure out who do I want to do, because I'm thinking it's probably the same as it's ever been, where it's linked to one character. And so for the first time, I'm kind of not sure. Like, we're in a good state of balance. Typically, I sort of meta Slav, and now it's like, I don't know, rogues are good, rangers are good. I feel like clerics are great. Like, warlocks are in a good spot. So who do I want to leaderboard with? And then, at least for me, what I always do is I make 3 of that character and I fill their stash with sets, and then I can just transfer like
Yeah.
one set across 2 or 3 set or whatnot. And so yeah, I like it. And also I haven't been competitive at all like the last 2 weeks, and so it'll be nice to go back into a bit of a competitive mindset. Because like leaderboarding is a little bit competitive, but at least for me and goblins, most of the players in there are still just regular players. Whereas when I feel like when I go crypts, like when I'm scrimming for the tournament, that's always sweaty. Like crypts is always sweaty.
Yeah. Like, so people coming into my stream, they keep asking me, "Oh, hey Ken, you excited for leaderboards?" And everything they say, I'm like, I'm really not. I've had more fun not leaderboarding this past
Mhm.
week than I did the entire leaderboard season previously. It is always way more fun to not be leaderboarding, and that's not good. It's not
Yep.
good that like one of your top players who like grinds leaderboard is like, this shit isn't really fun, and I don't know.
You're not the
I
only
think
one. Jay feels the
yeah.
same
Oh, I
way.
know. Oh, most of the people who grind it do. It's just the leaderboards were made for like the week long play test, and now they persisted past that. And
Yeah.
I don't know. They had to do some changes. They alluded to maybe doing some changes to them, so I'm excited for that. I think
Yeah,
one of
what do
the
we
main
think?
changes. Sorry, what was that?
No, you're good. You were heading there
Yeah,
already, and I interrupted you.
yeah.
You're
I was
good.
saying one of the main changes I think they should make that's like a no brainer is I think the overall kill board and the overall like stat tracking boards should be all of your characters. You should have class specific boards, but then like the
Account
overall kill
specific.
adventure
Yeah.
it should be account specific amongst all your characters.
Yep.
Because I it feels bad feeling pressure to only play one character the entire wipe or the entire season or whatever. And like sometimes I just like want to play my warlock for a little bit, or I want to hop on the cleric and have some
Right.
fun. And it would be cool if getting kills on those characters would attribute to something at least, you know?
Right. Oh, that would
Uh,
help with burnout so much. So going back to the very beginning of the show when we were talking about how you're not getting like there's a little bit of burnout, but you're not getting bored. That to me, whenever I feel like I'm starting to get bored, I know it's my fault because all I have to do is switch characters
exactly.
and I'm immediately fine again and excited to play again. There's always something a little bit different I can do with each character. So I've got 2 bards, 2 clerics, ranger, fighter, and I'm missing one. What am I missing? A wizard. And yeah, I end up even like switching between my 2 bard characters or my 2 cleric characters. Like just going back to one where it's like, oh my gosh, I have completely different gear sets on this guy, and these would do really well if I played solo on this map for this purpose. Like maybe I should go. I'm not going to mine with a cleric typically, but you get the point, right? Like certain gear sets are going to have better situational utility, and I don't know, like just that part of the game is awesome. So for people that are grinding leaderboard over the course of 2 weeks, which I think is the number one thing they should change. So maybe 1A, what you mentioned, I think is probably the most important, like giving the account wide recognition while you're grinding the leaderboard. But the tie for that has got to be the duration. I'm really curious to see if on Friday they say, okay, leaderboard comes out Friday and it's going to run
1
through the
month,
weekend.
baby.
Through the weekend.
Yes.
Like
1
run it through
month.
the weekend.
That's a marathon, baby. I'm in.
And then do
All
it
right, let's.
Here
weekends
at Iron
only.
Mace, this is our hardcore game. And you have to grind for a month straight. You have to say goodbye to your family, and you got to grind these leaderboards because our game is
Yes.
hardcore. No, that'd be miserable. I hope it's weekend. I hope it's shorter. I think there's a plethora of options they could choose from for like the duration of leaderboards, but just to touch back on the overall like kills, like account wide sharing kills, like that's a no brainer. Like that wouldn't natively affect anybody. That's only upside. I think there's much more controversy like talking about like season wide duration, leaderboard grind duration, and like how we want to tackle that issue. Another no brainer I think that they should make is either you don't have to remove escape artist, but I think you could replace escape artist with an assist board. I think having
Mm,
like the support players on a team aren't they aren't recognized enough. I feel like people should be their assist should be tracked when you
yep.
assist in a kill because
Mhm.
now it's just killing blow based, and that's a little lame in my opinion.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, I agree with that as
Yeah.
well.
Because I play with some of like the best clerics and the best bards in the game, and they got my back, and they're keeping me alive through thick and thin, and they're not recognized for it, and it feels bad for them.
Yep.
Yep, I agree,
Well,
100%.
so do you guys think escape artist is like a good stat to track? I think they should get rid of it. I think having an escape artist leaderboard promotes ratty gameplay.
Ah,
But
yes.
what do you think?
I like it. Watching N
Right.
Boss get rank 1, he had like 400 escapes and like 40 kills at most. I was like, I applaud this
Like I
man.
said, I'm not gonna die in this hill. Like I said, this is like me being nitpicky.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I ran into like the rank 1 rogue escape artist in a high roller last season, and he was just hiding in a corner, just like literally in a spawn box, just like waiting. And I only knew he was there because a skeleton mate tried shooting him through a wall. And I'm like, this is how this fucking guy's playing to get rank
Yep.
1.
Yep.
He's just sitting in it, and I killed him. His inventory was just full of invisibility pots. And I'm like,
Hell
what?
yeah.
This guy is sweating.
I
It's funny.
That's a good story. And yeah, watching N Boss plays Swarm. He all season he was in Goblin War Camp over where the static extract is in Goblin. And he would just be cleric, he would be campfiring with physical healing, he'd be healing himself out of zone, he had clarity pots. That man lived there. And I don't know, it's like ridiculous that that's a thing, but also at the same time, I don't know, like leaderboards are arbitrary, so it's kind of cool that people who feel like ratting actually have like a rat board, like an
So
all-time rat leaderboard.
I'm not like against it. It's just like those
Yeah,
are
like
funny.
it's yeah. To me, it's the same as treasure collector because like I want to go out with people's gear, but I don't get any points, and then I have to like struggle when I'm like rank 8. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I go look at End Boss. I'm like, what? He's just looting fucking chalices in the Locust all map. Like he's
Hmm.
never fought anybody, but it's a different play style. But all right, we're coming down to the wire here. Let's take some questions from chat and see what our chats think and what they want to talk about, especially heading into the deflation period on Friday, the opening up of the leaderboards. And let me just quickly before we take a question, when do you guys think we're going to get the big content patch and wipe? I'm talking questing, druid, cyclops, new map.
So I'm not sure when. Like I'm not gonna sit here and like pretend like I have an idea.
Mhm.
But whatever the time frame is, it should be before Steam release. Like
Okay.
you want to get questing, skills, new map out, boom, big hype, then Steam. Like in that order. Like I said, I'm not sure what the time frame is, but that should be the order of operations. In a perfect world, that would be around Christmas time for maximum hype and maximum game sales, but that might be too taxing on their bottom line or their
Mhm.
schedule.
Wait, I
But
want to
yeah,
make sure I understood the question you're asking, Josh. Are you saying just the biggest content patch or just the next one? Because I
No, the
thought
biggest
they
one. The
oh, the
biggest one.
biggest one, I agree. Then I think that'll be around Christmas with, yeah, hopefully it'll coincide with Steam release. The next one, though, if I'm not mistaken, they said was planned for the end of this month or early November, right?
Yeah, the big like balancing.
Right.
I'm not sure what would come
Where
with
we
that
might
'cause
even be getting questing. That was the way that I interpreted.
did he word a quest or was how he worded
Or
it?
yeah,
Yeah,
A
we'll
quest.
get
That's
a
what it
quest.
was. Yeah, it was the SDF
Mm.
Q&A that came
Yeah,
from.
hopefully it's
So my
50
guess would be
steps.
November 3rd on that. Just the way the calendar's shaping up. They've got various Halloween events planned. The what was that? Did you guys read through that community announcement today about the contest for artwork? I didn't
Mm-mm.
really
Yeah, I
read
saw
that.
that. I
didn't
didn't
see
read
that
it.
one.
I saw that it came out though. That was like a Halloween art event. Looks
That's
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
and they're giving away there are a couple different things. They're giving away like 5 bluestone shards, another
Nice.
a specific an artisan Discord role, and then there was another there was like your art will be featured in the Hall of Fame, I think, which I don't know if that's a Discord thing only or if that would possibly get your artwork somehow into the game itself, which would be
I hope
really
that
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they made it into like a little pixel painting and put it in there, that would be really cool.
That would be cool.
All right, so what do you guys got, chat?
So while we wait for some questions, is there any changes you want to see to the leaderboard specifically, like certain things tracked or big changes besides like duration and stuff? Any other things? So better arcane.
Um, well, I guess nothing new. We've covered a lot of this in various shapes and forms in the past. The big thing for me would be to have it not only would I like the duration to be shorter, but if we had it be like ticket based, right, where you've got a certain number of entries to compete at the
Yeah, I've
competition
been
level,
spreading that around. It would be kind of
right?
fun.
I love that idea. And so any way that it's not just pure number of hours to win would be great. But I think what the spirit of your question is like, are there different metrics altogether, different types of leaderboards that we'd like to see? I think an assist leaderboard would be a great step in the right direction.
I agree.
It'd be kind of cool. I don't know if it's really leaderboard appropriate, it'd just be a metric to track, but specific kills with like a spell or a weapon, right? Like most kills with a longsword, most kills with a bardiche, most kills with a fireball, like that kind of stuff would be cool. But it's definitely lower prio than the other stuff.
Yeah, too narrow. But like those are metrics that I do want to see. I wish I had a personal stat tab for my character like Tarkov where I could just see how I'm performing with what spells and what weapons. That would be super awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, they have the stats, right? Like they have them. They show the stats every playtest. Like they just have to make like a UI feature where we can see it in real time.
What
I'm
about
not sure the
PvE
logistics behind
kills?
that. Yeah, I would love to see that too. I would
Like
love to
PvE
see
kills,
A
yeah.
PvE
Yeah.
kill
I'll
leaderboard.
track.
Monster kills, just like any monster at all, then that would, as long as it's
Mhm.
not spiders from the pots, I think that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Dude, Monster Hunter, dude, that's a good title as well.
Yeah, that is a good one, Monster
Yeah.
Hunter.
I'm the rank 1 Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of cool, actually. I like that.
You could give us colored nameplates as well in the trade for leaderboarders, like top 5 or like top 3 get some X color, because we already have the karma system, right? But like we could separate it where all season you just get a colored nameplate. It's aesthetic only. It basically does nothing, but it would be nice to have. As somebody who hasn't even made it like that high on any of the leaderboards,
Yeah,
I
that'd
think,
be simple too, right? Like,
yeah, like very simple, or it just says something like I don't know, whatever it is.
yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I like that a lot.
So one of the questions over here from Joel Master is, do we have any thoughts on whether or not legendary crafting items should have, I think he means visual effects, like they don't really, like, I'm assuming like Fulgore, right? He says they currently don't do anything. I think an effect of like, a purple highlight or on a void blade or something like that would be cool when you actually
I
make
think it's in
contact.
the works.
It's in the
I-
works.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
it's in the works.
they said it was as well, something along those
Awesome.
lines. Because the
Like
artifacts are just so rare, it'd be cool to see, like even just something small, like Void Blade has
Well,
just like
on
a swish of
legendaries
purple.
though.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even the gear, like just like different coloring. You don't have to make new models. You don't have to like stretch your model department to make new weapon models. Just give us some different coloring on the robe of darkness or on the demon clad leggings. You could just do a color change on the spear of rot and stuff, make it green or something. And nothing too you don't have to go too crazy with it because like these are artifacts, but just something that if you see somebody in game, oh, he's wearing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, like
Right.
damn, that's Demon's Glee.
Yeah.
Like a little like demon laughter when he swishes it.
Something, yeah. That doesn't be too
That's
crazy.
a really good idea. Or sets. We can get set effects where if you have like let's say Robe of Darkness plus Cloak of Darkness plus like one crafted piece of like Demon Clad or whatever, it like your feet are like black glowing. Like a little cloud of darkness.
Set
in your
effects would
feet.
be fun in this game, and just like a little tangent.
Mhm.
I didn't even think about that, like just having set effects. Like if you're like I'm 5 out of 5 ruby silver, and I get a set bonus of +5 will for doing so. I mean that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
With
that'd
a
be really
lobster
cool. Something
emblem right on
basic.
the middle of the armor.
Yeah.
A little lobster cage.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, let me see. My chat says, "How do you guys think Iron Mace can help make the game more forgiving for new and casual players?" I've personally
Buff Ender's back. That's the best thing they
I
could
agree
do.
with buff enders. It's like loot is already so plentiful. Why can't I just buy shit off the tailor and the leathersmith that's like purple again? I thought that was fine.
It doesn't have to be purple, but just more like decent
More
rolled greens and
statted, yeah.
blues. Yeah, that's all you need.
Yep.
Also, I mean, I've said it for months and months, but I think we need a PvE mode. I don't think it hurts really anybody. It might take some players out of the PvP lobbies temporarily, but in the end, everyone is going to make their way there. Sometimes you just want to smoke or drink or play with your friends and just go PvE.
So I disagree. I don't think having a PvE mode is good. But to play on that topic, there should be like a offline mode like Tarkov, where maybe you can queue with your friends if you want as well.
Oh,
Or
that's
where you can go in, you could do the PvE, you could practice, but that loot does not save. Because I think if you
Right.
have a
yes,
PvE only
Right.
mode, it'll fuck up the economy. But
right.
if you want
Okay,
to
I
go in there
agree.
and
I
practice
agree.
mobs, you want to go
Yeah.
learn some boss mechanics, you can go play offline mode. I think that would be fine. I think that would be healthy, and that would be good for new players to learn.
And
Or
we
just
know they
make
already
it
have the
really
tech to
cap
do
it
it.
out.
When they
Yeah.
had the rollback, when they had the non-database commit issue and they had to roll everything back because nothing was saving, they've already got that feature. They've already got it built in. So just don't commit anything to the database and everything's fine. Give them
Yeah,
offline
or
mode,
just
right?
really limit it. Like decrease the drop rates in there by 1,000%, so you can
Yeah,
get greens and blues, but like barely ever.
we
So
didn't
at
talk much
least
about the dupe and like the patch reverse from last week, but like
Mm.
one takeaway from that whole situation was, okay, they now have the ability to roll back the servers, and that's good.
Mhm.
And we found out they have the capability to get legacy items out of the game, and that's good. So like they're obviously learning from their past mistakes. We're never gonna have a legacy item issue again. And I know like this like out of nowhere, I just randomly thought of that because we were talking about their back end. But these are great things. Like sure, last
Mhm.
week we had some crazy things happen with the duping and the patch reversion. But the
Yep.
positive takeaways were that they have the tools in place to deal with those situations, and that's relieving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. What do you think about if it was an offline mode, giving people the ability to just loot white, like whites are the cap, all non-magical gear can still be taken out of the dungeon. Not
If
gold.
it's
It would only be
Yeah,
whites
if
and
it's
gray
gear,
items and
if
gear
it's
only.
gear, that'd be fine. That wouldn't affect anybody. I mean, you might just have the problem. I think. What if you have all these overseas gamers that are making bots that are just running around automated looting just white
Yeah.
things and
You
vendoring
got to
them?
And
loot
lockpicks.
a lot of whites
Yeah,
I
to
don't
make
know.
that worth
They
it.
can just
I
grab
don't
all the
think that's ever going to
lockpicks.
be worth it.
yeah. It's like it might be like 70 gold in your inventory, but like you might be able to automate it. That's I think botting. I think the
Yeah.
WoW classic and people making bots, and I don't know.
Yeah, still, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze there. Even, I mean, you got to buy a lot of copies of the game and run
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of different characters for not very
Mhm.
much reward. So, yeah, I
I
think
like
that's
this one
viable.
too. What do you guys think about starter kit only lobbies?
Yeah, I've been saying this for I've been saying
That's
this
a really
forever.
good suggestion.
I do this rant every day on my stream. I'll do it again here.
Yep.
High roller and normals, get rid of them. It should just be naked queue, and should just be geared queue, and you
Yep.
could have the loot disparity of like high roller to normal, but have it naked versus geared, and get rid of the high roller entry fee, in my opinion.
Amen.
But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
There
think
are
that'd be
times,
fun too, because like
yeah,
just the end of the stream for an hour, you're just like, I just want to go into like the gearless queue and just arena.
it's a different game. It's just
Hmm.
it's a completely different game, and it's fun,
Full of shitty grays.
yeah, it's a good time, dude. It really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's nice to just have people have the option to go in with no risk and not have to worry about getting stomped by dorks like me running around in full epics.
What do
Or
you
at
think
least when you're
about
playing dorks like me, I'm naked.
what do you think about a survival mode, like a Left 4 Dead type of scenario? Maybe not as a normal game mode, but as like a special event. That's coming from someone in the chat here.
I wish this game would just do more events in general.
Yeah.
Not specifically at the end of a season. Like after like your season has run its course, you've done your leaderboard, you've done like your whole season, you've run the last week. Have some fun RMAs, keep it fresh, and then you
Right.
can probably get some useful data from this. Like if like we were talking about earlier, if you give everybody a unique weapon off the jack-o'-lantern, you would get some really good data on how well these uniques are performing. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
or do some kind of survival or left or demo that you're talking about, you'll get some really good data quickly on like PvE mobs and like
Hmm.
stuff like that would be cool. I've been saying I would love an end of season event on the runes map where it's 5 or 4 5-man teams on
Yeah.
runes.
Oh, that'd
Very
be
cool.
cool. 5-man
Yeah.
teams would be wild, man.
It would work on runes because the map is big and open enough. I think it
Yeah.
wouldn't
Right.
work on crypts, but on
And you
runes
put
it
a
would
team in
work.
each corner.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah,
That would be
I
a
love
good
that
time.
idea.
That would be very interesting. I mean, especially as we head toward, like, this is way later and I talk about it a lot, but as we head toward adventure companies, aka guilds and guild wars, like, we need to, at some point, I like the idea of getting more players together because you already have the friendly fire maxed out. It'd be cool to see what kind of comps people would bring and just like the clips and those really awesome, like, aha moments of somebody landing a fireball in like the middle of 5 guys looting another corpse and like half their team is just decimated. That'd be so sweet. Or just like 5 rangers just trying to meme and you're just firing arrows down. Like the play you could get from that would be substantial.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And
I imagine the clips just from that like week alone. If just
yeah,
5-man
holy
teams on
hell.
runes, like just that footage alone would be better than any marketing you could do for the game.
No doubt.
Yeah, I like that. My chat called it Clash, the Clash event.
Hmm.
5 teams of 4 or 4 teams of 5.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. But yeah,
That'd be fun.
that would be sick. I would love that so much.
The amount of friendly fire kills just be.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Oh, chain lightning would be supreme.
I
Yeah.
shot Nizori in the back twice yesterday in the same fight against Nakeds, and I had Centaur's Madness. I basically just 2-shot him, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I must be sleepy.
Feels bad.
Speaking of
Nizori.
Nizori, we should have him on. Are we? I'm assuming
Yeah,
we're
let's-
same bat time, same bat channel next week, which will be the day before TwitchCon for
I think that's
a
perfect.
lot of people.
Mhm.
Should we have him
That'll
on
be a
next
good
Thursday?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's ask him how he's feeling and bring him on.
Not
Okay.
sure.
That'd be a good
I'm
one.
sure he'd be down if scheduling works out. I'm sure he'd be down. He loves
Yeah.
talking. He has
Sweet.
a very good experience.
All right. Anything else
All
we
right,
want to
boys.
conclude with today?
I just want to say I'm looking forward to the Dragon Raid. Let's get a big World of
Yes.
Warcraft style Dragon Raid with like gates and DPS checks and
People keep talking
bring it
about like
on.
this hotfix being the deflation hotfix, but they're very vague in their wording.
They're
Yeah, I hope
big,
they
yeah.
don't overdo
Well-
it. I hope they
well-
just barely tune it down. Barely.
What if in true Iron Maze fashion they're not nerfing it and it's actually a buff? Because like I said, they worded it very weird. Like we're doing some economy changes. I'm like that could be either way. Everyone assumes nerf with lots of gold. But what if they're like, nah, let's buff it? That would be an Iron Maze move. Probably not.
I would
gonna
love it.
happen, but
I would
I
take it
imagine they're gonna like double the drop rate on like gold chests and like wolf hides, so people can just craft more shit, so their stashes aren't insane. And in a way, that does deflate. If everybody has more space in the stash, then everything is worth less. In a way, right? Like gold keys wouldn't be worth it. My main thing, I guess, before we go, my biggest note for the current economy situation is that I hate that no one uses keys anymore. There's no reason to use keys ever again because the keys are worth
Keys-
5 times the shit you can pull out of
simple
keys.
fix. Simple fix.
Yeah.
Keys should not be. They should be boom. Hot fix Friday. Golden keys are no longer tradable.
No
Problem
keys.
solved.
Mystical gems aren't tradable.
No.
Yeah.
Gold keys and skull keys. You just got to use
That's-
your own keys.
Like sure, I get value storage, but the problem
Oh
with
my god!
that-
Imagine the gold traders.
yeah, they just
Inventory's
don't
fully
get
worthless
they get
keys.
used.
Holy shit!
No one's using keys, and that's lame. That's like the bad part of
That
it.
is
right?
really lame. I hate
Yeah.
that. I'll never find a key on anybody that didn't
Mm.
find it in raid like that. It's boring. It's a really weird. I dislike that.
Keys not tradable. Get on an Iron Mace.
Yep. That's an easy fix too, and it really savages the high end of wealth players.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, you
Get
could
'em.
replace it. You could say anybody that's got a key in their inventory currently is going to get compensated
about-
with 5 gold ingots or something, and then just get all the keys out of everyone's
Nah,
inventories.
dude, burn them.
Burn 'em.
Wait,
those
actually,
people-
I like that idea too.
they would run the keys. They would just run the keys for gold, and that would be good for the game. There'd be
That
people
would
out
be
there
good for the game.
getting
Yeah,
keys.
I agree. And you could sell carries or like
Mm-hmm.
protect me, and I get 3 of the pulls.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of being able to buy keys. Like after this, what if we make it so you can trade X, Y, and Z for a gold key, and then it's bound and you have to use it? Like
Yeah,
I don't know, like crafting mats for
barter.
keys. Yeah, like an infernal ore that you can only find in HR Inferno. You need like 9 infernal ore plus. I don't
You
know.
could just melt down your fucking gold bars and do a golden key. It's already
Yeah, I'm
there.
cool with that.
Whatever barter you want. Just like Tarkov has barters for certain key cards and
Mhm.
certain keys. You
I
can
like
do
this.
that
I
in
like
this
the
game.
idea of bartering.
Bartering is good. Bartering is very good in these kind of games because like
Mhm.
it makes other items besides gold valuable, and you want that. You
Yeah.
want like diversified value amongst items.
Agreed. That's a good
All right,
place to
guys.
end it, gents. It's
Yeah, that is a
been
great
a
one.
pleasure as always.
As always. Yes.
Enjoy the dungeons for the remainder of the week. Hopefully, we get a good hot fix on Friday. I'm sure I'll be
And
talking to you
good luck
boys before next
leaderboarding.
Wednesday. Yeah, good luck in whatever
I'm
the
sure-
leaderboard looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sure Iron Mace won't completely break the game on Friday. They've never done it in the past. They have been stellar with these hot fixes, and I am excited for all the positivity they're going to bring on Friday. Let's go,
Yeah.
Iron Mace.
John Quincy Iron Mace knows what they're doing. All right. Friday is coming. It's going to be good. All right, guys.
well,
All
Take it
right.
easy.
Well, thanks everybody in the chat
All right.
and all the chats everywhere. You guys rock. Hold the line. We'll see you next week.
Hold the line, baby.
See you next week.
Ciao.
Cheers.